The perfect Arsenal summer transfer window for the 24-25 season. Today we're going to be analysing the Arsenal squad, deciding who we're selling, who we're keeping and who we are bringing in. We're going to be analysing every single position from goalkeeper to centre forward. Get into the comments below. Which position do you think Arsenal need to recruit in the most? A few names that have been knocking around, the likes of Benjamin Sesko, Bruno Guimaraes, but more on that later on. A special thanks to Matchmasters for sponsoring this video. Stick around to find out how you can win tickets, yes, tickets to England at Euro 2024. It's an absolute banger, so stay tuned to that. But anyway, let's get this party started. Arsenal don't need to completely revolutionise the squad. They need a few signings to make them better and better. Edu has done a great job so far with the transfers. Arteta's coaching has been simply phenomenal. So we're going to be using the 4-3-3 as the shape for Arsenal to build with. But anyway, let's dive into the goalkeepers. So let's start with David Raya. It's easy to forget that he's actually on loan at the moment. Arsenal haven't quite exercised that clause yet. £27 million to bring him to the Emirates. It's something that I would completely do. His ability on the ball, his confidence to draw the opponent's pressure on in those deep areas is simply sublime. One of the best ball-playing goalkeepers in the world of football. Not only that, but he has that range, he has that vision to hit someone like Kai Havertz high up the pitch of Arsenal getting pressed. There is room for improvement in his game. He had 3 errors leading to goals last season. Only 2 players in the Premier League managed more. But a great start to life at the Emirates for David Raya, and a player that is 100% got to stay at Arsenal Football Club. In terms of our first move, we are going to sell Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsey is far too good to be a backup, and Arsenal could get around £30 million selling him. And it's something that Arsenal really should do. I think they need to fully back David Raya as being the number one and bringing in, maybe a youth player to take that second spot. So the first thing we're going to do is bring Carl Hein into the first team squad and extend his contract. A decent number 2 that's got potential at only 22 years old. So that's simple. Goalkeepers, we have sorted that nice and quickly. The best things in life come for free. Walks in the park, Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid. But also Matchmasters giving you the chance to win tickets to see England at Euro 2024. Matchmasters is the world's most popular multiplayer match 3 game and has a lot of similarities with the beautiful game. Both require careful planning and strategy, both use 3-piece combinations and overloads, but also allow you to taste sweet success when you defeat your rivals. Why I love Matchmasters is because not only are the games quick and challenging, but Matchmasters features boosters. Just match blue stars to charge your booster and then unleash it on your opponent to change the game in your favour. So if you want a chance to win free tickets to see England at Euro 2024, including flights and a hotel for you and a friend, then download Matchmasters either by using this QR code or the link in the description below. As soon as you earn 250 trophies, it's as simple as that. You'll be entered in the draw to win the tickets. It took me around 15 minutes, so what are you waiting for? On to right back, and Arsenal should 100% keep Ben White, one of the most consistent and disciplined fullbacks in the Premier League. And his relationship with not only Martin Odegaard, but Bukayo Saka as well, is absolutely perfect. At times we saw Ben White moving into a central midfield position and getting on the ball in an inverted role. Did that to great success. Whereas at the back end of the season, especially games against Manchester City, we saw how well he did on the overlap, getting forward in the final third and providing crosses into the box. He's just going to get better and better. Not only is he a very, very good right back in the Premier League, can do a job at centre back as well, giving Arsenal that utility man at the back. Moving to centre back, Arsenal got 2 of the best centre backs in the Premier League, the best pairing by a country mile. Not only did they restrict Erling Haaland to 0 goals and 0 assists this season, the only pairing to do it in the Premier League, but they are so dominant. William Saliba won 85% of his tackles. He's an absolute Rolls Royce. When you're looking at those big games against the big strikers, he's someone that completely marshals his opponent, destroys them. But in terms of Gabriel, I think he deserves a bit of a shout out as well. It's almost the Joel Matip in this relationship. Virgil van Dijk got all the respect at Liverpool, but Joel Matip did a very important job. And that's exactly the similar relationship between Gabriel and William Saliba. Saliba is the Rolls Royce, the Virgil van Dijk, and Gabriel is more of that player that's going to not really get the limelight, but does score goals. Since 2020, he scored more goals than any other defender in the Premier League and is a massive threat from set pieces. Not only that, the pairing of having Saliba's right foot and Gabriel's left foot opens up great passing lanes for Arsenal to play into midfield, exactly what Arteta wants. And a stat to highlight how well Gabriel did last season, he made only a single error leading to a shot, which was the least of any Arsenal player in the backline last season. The pair together, of course, kept more clean sheets than any other team in the Premier League. In fact, Arsenal away from home last season were so tight defensively. Only Manchester City and Everton kept more clean sheets in all their games versus Arsenal away from home. And that's a big part of that kind of back three triangle in David Raya, Saliba and Gabriel. So moving on to left fullback, Arsenal should keep Jurrien Timber in that position. We started to see in the first game of the season him operating slightly inside. He had a really good relationship with the two players ahead of him. Of course, in that game, or the only game that Jurrien Timber played, that was Gabriel Martinelli and Kai Havertz. And that triangle started to look like it could blossom into something really good. It's a real shame that Timber picked up that ACL injury, but Arsenal should definitely keep him. I think Arteta's got an idea of what he wants to do on that left-hand side, and Timber is that perfect kind of Ben White alternative at left-back. Not only can Timber play that position, but he can play in both the centre-back positions and at right-back as well, and will be a massive asset for Arsenal going forward. But he could be the starting option at left-back. I'd quite like that. Moving to Zinchenko, I think Zinchenko is a player that's got Arsenal into a really good place. His ability to invert and join that central midfield area allowed Arsenal to really move towards Mikel Arteta's ideas and how he wanted to open up the football game. When we're looking at the statistics, though, Zinchenko made more errors leading to shots than any other Arsenal defender. For me, it could be time to sell him, especially with Bayern Munich interested and Vincent Kompany looking to create a new model at Bayern Munich. £30 million is a reported fee. I would definitely sell Zinchenko for that fee. In terms of other left-backs that Arsenal have got in their ranks, Nuno Tavares is still on the books. You get around 5 to 10 million for him. And also Kieran Tierney. I really feel for Kieran Tierney. Injuries have been a massive problem at Arsenal, and they were at Real Sociedad, where he spent on loan this season. But selling Tierney, selling Zinchenko and Nuno Tavares means there could be a bit of a hole in the Arsenal squad. So moving on to the first signing of this window, the thing we've got to remember with this Arsenal team is it's not about buying loads of players. It's about buying real quality, or players that Arteta can work with that can improve that starting 11. That's where Arsenal are. They came second in the Premier League. They had a good run in the Champions League. So the next stage is all about improvement, small improvements, and giving them some tactical flexibility. I think one area where they could maybe improve the side is having more of an attacking wing-back. Something that Kieran Tierney was supposed to be, that outside flyer, that player that can play in the wide area, pushing the forward inside. And for me, the player that they need to buy from Girona is Miguel Gutierrez, a player that came through at the Real Madrid Academy. A wing-back that not only can play on the outside of the winger ahead of him, but also likes that inside channel. Not only would that give Arsenal great flexibility in the final third, knowing that if, for example, Martinelli wants to carry inside, Gutierrez can go on the overlap and then put balls into the box. But also, if Martinelli's holding the width, operating as a wide winger, or even Trossard in that position, Gutierrez has got that ability to run in behind the defence from that inside channel. He got a number of assists in La Liga last season doing that, and it's a real asset for him. Taking the ball on in those areas, his touch is very, very good. He's almost got that complete wing-back type of idea where whenever the tactical situation opens up, he will pick the correct decision, be it inside, be it outside, be it recycling the play. He has got a lot of talent. Still just 22 years old, directly involved in 9 goals in the Liga in Girona's offensive possession-based style. I think it will be a brilliant signing for Arsenal. Not only will they have a different option at left-back, but tactically Arsenal could move. The other thing with Girona is they build with a 3 similar to how Arsenal could build with a 3 with Gutierrez in the team. That, of course, is pushing the left-back forward and building with the likes of Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White. It's almost going back to the old school setup with Zinchenko moving inside, but this time your left back can go on the outside, go on the inside, can also attack from deep. Great signing, available for around €30 million, is an absolute bargain for Arsenal. £25 million is the first signing that Arteta and Edu should make this summer to really improve the side. So to finish off chatting about the defence, I just want to say Edu has built a brilliant defensive line. Why I say it's brilliant is because you've got a lot of utility players in there. Players that are capable of playing right back and centre back, or left back, right back and centre back in Tomiyasu. And he's a player that could be developed into a real big game weapon. You're looking at some of the performances he's put in, especially against Manchester City this season, where his forward run led to the Gabriel Martinelli goal. He's a player that could be utilised in that role. Not only that, he could cover for William Saliba at centre-back and Gabriel, and of course he can play left-back as well. Similar to Timber, you're buying defenders that are very comfortable all across the defensive line. But that's also Kivor. I've been impressed about his development as well, capable of playing left-back and also centre-back. Arsenal basically don't need as many defenders because they've got so many of their defenders can play multiple positions. Great transfers, and that is testament to Edu's performance in the transfer window. So moving into the midfield line, of course, Arsenal are going to keep Declan Rice, who finished the season with 15 goal involvements. More than the likes of Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota. This guy's a defensive midfielder. It was the small part of Declan's game that he needed to improve with scoring goals. He needed to be a little bit more like Leon Goretzka in his heyday that would crash into the box and score. Rice is now doing that. Not only has he added that to his game, but now he's also a corner specialist. In 2024, Declan Rice has got the most assists from corners in the Premier League. And that routine has meant that Arsenal have become the most dominant side from set pieces in the entire league. Declan Rice, provides that cover at number 6 if Arsenal want to play with a dedicated destroyer, but also in those bigger games as a number 8, put in some cracking performances, pressing, leading, being aggressive. Of course, Arsenal keep Declan Rice. Brilliant signing. In terms of the defensive midfield line, I think Jorginho is another player that could stay a regista, operate slightly different. With a Declan Rice, you're getting a player that is a little bit more close control, will play a switch once in a while, will carry through. Whereas Jorginho is your pure ball player that's just going to open up the pitch, that's going to move the ball around, that's going to switch the play, that's going to receive off the centre-backs, play forward. He is that kind of pinnacle footballer that's going to be, utilising this Arsenal squad. His experience as well in that midfield line, I think, is really valuable. The fella's won the Champions League. That's what Arsenal want to aspire to. I think keeping Jorginho this summer makes a lot of sense. And finally, Arsenal should keep Martin Ødegaard. Another really good season from Arsenal's captain. The leadership qualities, the intensity and pressing off the ball. But I like where Martin Ødegaard's going. Last season was all about goals. This season's more about building on that creativity. In terms of pass accuracy, what I like about Ødegaard is he fits the system. He retains the ball in the final third. His pass accuracy is better than the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes and Cole Palmer. You could argue 3 of the best creators in the league. But Martin Ødegaard does create from open play. More chances created than any other player in Europe's top 5 leagues. So he's retaining at the right time, he's creating at the right time, and that's what we've really seen from this season. I feel like last season we understood Ødegaard late arriving into the box, scoring big goals. This season it has been about the playmaking and that development. The relationship with Saka and Ben White has been simply sublime. He's a player that Arsenal should keep for many years, the perfect captain for the Gunners. So now who are we going to sell in midfield? I think first and foremost, Thomas Partey has got to be a player that Arsenal sell this summer. Could sell him for around £25 million. He's on £200,000 per week, which is far too much for a player that's not starting week in, week out. Arsenal only would open that wage budget, but they could get £25 million for a player that, if we're really honest with ourselves, has dropped off a little bit from the high levels that he's shown in his first season and a half at Arsenal Football Club. On top of that, Sambi Lokonga should have people that want to buy him. He had a good spell on loan at Luton Town, forged a good relationship with Ross Barkley, but if we're really honest with ourselves, probably isn't quite the level that Arsenal need to take that next step, to challenge for the Premier League. Reported to get around 15 million quid for him. I think it's another sell in midfield. Moving on to 2 players that I really like, and it's quite difficult to think about what to do with these guys. Fabio Vieira had so much talent in Portugal, was directly involved in a goal every 78 minutes. He's shown glimpses of real class at Arsenal, but I think the problem may be in training. Arteta might not see the right levels, but also does he lack a little bit of an edge in the Premier League? I think it's probably time to maybe sell Fabio Vieira when he's still got a little bit of value. Good player, been involved in some important goals, but maybe not the right standard that Arsenal want right now. Maybe not the right physicality as well. I think when we look at the Arsenal team that Edu's built, not only did it have that quality on the ball, you're thinking the centre-backs very good on the ball, you're thinking the full-backs, the midfielders are really good on the ball, but they're also quite physical players. They're all quite physically dominant, and that's maybe where Fabio Vieira quite hasn't found that same level in central midfield. The issue, he's not going to displace Martin Ødegaard, the club captain, and he's maybe not as physical as Kai Havertz from a height perspective, and maybe not from Declan Rice from just an overall build perspective. So maybe selling Fabio Vieira for around 15 to 25 million could be a good deal to reinvest that cash. I don't want to do it, but we're going to do it here. We're going to be brutal today, which moves on to the next player that I really feel for, another player like Kieran Tierney that's been absolutely plagued with injuries. Emile Smith-Rowe was directly involved in 12 Premier League goals as a 21-year-old in the 21-22 season. Since then, he's missed 31 games through injury, nearly half a year, and has only played 714 minutes in the last 2 years. Emile Smith-Rowe, it could be the right time for him to leave and join a club that fits him, and that is Aston Villa. And why I say Aston Villa is because you could use Emile Smith-Rowe in a bit of a part exchange for one of Aston Villa's best players, Douglas Luiz. Smith-Rowe's quality would really suit what Emery's doing at Aston Villa, that kind of wide playmaker, the kind of winger that moves into the half space to get on the ball. That suits Emile Smith-Rowe's game. But not only that, it would allow Arsenal to sign Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz is a player of insane quality, 14 goal involvements this season. His ability to arrive at the right time in the penalty area was a reason for Aston Villa's success. Only Ollie Watkins and Leon Bailey was directly involved in more Premier League goals than Douglas Luiz. Not only that, he's a top quality penalty taker, he's a threat from range and would add real quality and depth in the squad. And what we've done there is we've removed two players that could break it at Arsenal, but we've signed a real quality Premier League player. Yes, it might cost 20 million plus Emile Smith-Rowe, but you've got a number 8 in the Arsenal squad that they don't really have. A tenacious player that could be used in the big games. You think Arsenal could play a really aggressive midfield of Declan Rice, Douglas Luiz, and Martin Ødegaard in big games, so really focus on that pressing and that aggression. And I think it would allow Arsenal to play a certain way against certain sides, giving them that tactical discipline and so forth. Of course, you're probably putting Douglas Luiz in the team as an 8. Versus a number 6 or an attacking midfielder. So we're just going to move Kai Havertz around and put Douglas Luiz as kind of the backup to Declan Rice. Of course, Declan Rice could play as the 6, Douglas Luiz as the 8. It would work really well. But in terms of the budget, we haven't spent much money. You're thinking we bought Gutierrez for around 30 million euros, 25 million pounds. Douglas Luiz as a part exchange for 20 million. So now we're going to spend a lot of money. Newcastle United need to sell due to FFP. I think Arsenal would be better going for Bruno Guimaraes versus signing Alexander Isak. Why is because I feel like there's other strikers that Arsenal could get in European football that are available for, again, a release clause fee, whereas Isak's going to cost upward of 60, 70, 80 million quid. And Bruno Guimaraes is one of the most unique players in the world of football. Not only does he play as a number 6, but he's a player that controls the tempo, creates chances. His statistical profile is simply sublime. He dribbles, he tackles, he intercepts, he creates chances, he passes into the final third, he progresses the play, and I think it would add something different. You think in the Jorginho Regista, combined with someone like a Declan Rice's ability to carry the ball forward, that is Bruno Guimaraes. It would add such quality to the Arsenal midfield, but yes, it would cost around £100 million. It is a lot of money. But as I said before, the focus for Arsenal should be really improving that first team. And you're saying Bruno Guimaraes is probably one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League. Why not bring him to the Emirates to improve that zone? You think in that midfield of Declan Rice, Martin Ødegaard, and of course Bruno Guimaraes would be literally the best 3-man midfield in the league by a country mile. Not only that, as I think it would take the creative responsibility off Martin Ødegaard a little bit, which means Arteta could rotate his team a little bit, which is something I feel like he needs to work on, but that comes with the quality of the squad. So you're thinking you could play a midfield of Rice, Douglas Luiz and Bruno Guimaraes, because you've got Bruno Guimaraes' quality and chance creation from that deeper area, which would allow Martin Ødegaard to have some rest and then be really fit and fighting for the back end of the Champions League and of course the Premier League running. I think that's something that Arsenal could do a little bit better, is kind of time in their their run a little bit better. You think Manchester City in the last like 4 seasons have lost 4 games after Christmas Day. They always tick into form after Christmas Day. It's one of those weird things that we've seen. Arsenal could do that by having better squad depth. Now with this team, Arsenal have got 2 brilliant 8s, 2 brilliant 10s, and 2 brilliant number 6s. On to the right wing, of course, Arsenal need to sell Bukayo Saka. I'm only joking. Don't go into the comments yet. That was a joke. Back-to-back seasons where Saka's got 25 goal involvements in the Premier League. And I'd argue that he's probably the best right winger in the league right now. Saka ended the season in fantastic form versus Mohamed Salah, who you'd probably say was number 1 at the first part of the season. He really dropped off his form. Right now, Saka is the guy. You're thinking his durability is absolutely crazy. The guy just doesn't miss games. Even when he's injured. He's so good on the outside, on the inside. He can score, set pieces. He's a massive threat. He's just a really, really good player. And his level's been absolutely insane. So I think it's maybe getting a player to support him in that role. Reece Nelson could be used to make a bit of cash. Reportedly could get around £25 million for Reece Nelson. And I'd say as well, Reece Nelson's probably better on the left-hand side than he is on the right-hand side. Of course, they've got Marquinhos on the books, but he's currently on loan at Fluminense. And I think next, he needs a loan spell in Europe to really showcase whether he's good enough for Arsenal. So once again, it is time to raid Girona, and we're going to sign Stakhanov from them for around €30 million. That is the reported release clause. Another left-footed right attacker. Hammer of a left foot, really good on going on the outside, on the inside, directly involved in 15 goals in just 2,000 La Liga minutes. He's got the quality to come in and be a pretty decent backup. Tactically, will operate very similar to Saka and will allow Arteta to rotate in certain games. We're talking versus the weaker teams in the league, the promoted sides, maybe the bottom 5 teams in the league, where Stakhanov can come in and provide an option on that left-hand side, hold the width, cut in and shoot, simple as you like. But I think that is a good deal. €30 million for a player of good quality, 26 years old, so arguably coming into his prime, a little bit like Leandro Trossard being, competing with Martinelli for that first team slot. This will be more that Saka's number 1 and Stakhanov is the backup, but I think good business for around €30 million. On to the left wing, this is the simplest position of them all. Keep Martinelli and keep Leandro Trossard. Martinelli had a bit of a lull season following him being top scorer the year before, but Trossard came in and made great impact for Arsenal, either as a false 9 on the left wing, as attacking midfield at times. He is such a good utility forward, and in fact, if we look at the goals plus assists per 90, he's one of the best in the Arsenal squad. So that position, we don't need to reinforce any area, we're just going to keep it exactly the same. On to the centre-forward position, Arsenal need a number 9. Is it Gyökeres? Is it Joshua Zirkzee? Or maybe Benjamin Sesko? First up, we're going to have to sell some players. Eddie Nketiah has been a decent player for Arsenal, but he's averaging a goal every around 241 minutes in the league last season, scored 9 goals, but I don't think his overall play is suited to what Arteta wants. He wants a forward that can receive to feet or can receive to chest, bit of a kind of like target player in possession, hence why we've seen Kai Havertz play that role so well for Arteta. Now on to Gabriel Jesus. I would probably keep Gabriel Jesus unless a bid of around £50 million came in, and then I would definitely sell the Brazilian centre forward. Gabriel Jesus is a player that works so hard off the ball that again can create something out of nothing when the ball's at his feet in terms of dribbling, but the worry is his finishing. He's a player that doesn't take chances, he misses too many big chances, and he doesn't really perform over his XG like you want a clinical forward to do. That being said, I still think, if Arsenal don't sell him in the summer and they keep him, he could be a great option from the right wing. Under Pep Guardiola, he played 15 times in the Premier League on the right wing, scored 8 goals and got 7 assists. So that if, Arsenal don't want to get Stakhanov from Girona, he could easily be the backup on the right wing and be the understudy to Saka, of course, could play on the left as well, and again, would be a backup centre forward. But I do think Arsenal need to sign a proper striker this summer, and that proper centre forward, in fact, will be split over 2 players. Of course, Kai Havertz, we got him in the attacking midfield role, but Arsenal's form really turned when he became the number 9. He's directly involved in 14 goals in 12 games as a striker. Not only that, did he equal his best ever season in goal involvements in a single league campaign with 20 goal involvements in the Premier League. Kai Havertz is a player that I absolutely love. His movement off the ball, his ability to find space and find where the weak parts are on the opponent's backline and do the unselfish work work is so impressive. And when you look at goal creating actions, Havertz in 2024 is one of the best players in the league. When we're talking goal creating actions, we're talking the 2 actions that precede a goal. Shows how important he is. You know, is it him receiving the ball, into feet from a deep line playmaker, shipping it to a teammate, the teammate then finding a striker and them scoring? That's the type of move we're talking about. Havertz is so good in those moments. So Arsenal being able to play Kai Havertz as a 9 is a great option. But I do think Arsenal probably need another player in that zone. And that player should be Benjamin Sesko. Sesko, operating currently at RB Leipzig, is a forward that would be brilliant for Arteta's team. Not only is he available for just 50 million euros, 43 million pounds, but he's got the potential to be a complete forward. For Leipzig, he usually plays with Lewis Openda as a 2. Their system is a 4-4-2. The wingers come inside and operate as kind of attacking midfielders, leaving the 2 strikers to operate with 1 stretching the play, usually Lewis Openda, and 1 linking the play, Benjamin Sesko. Leipzig use him as a target man, but a target man into his chest. They usually fire the balls in at chest height, at head height, and then he brings people into play. Something that an Arsenal centre forward needs to do under Arteta. Not only that he's got good movement in the penalty area. I remember watching him against Real Madrid in the Champions League this season. He missed 3 big chances. But what I liked about what he did was the positions that he was picking up were fantastic. And it was almost like it's going to kind of set off. Something's going to light this player into scoring a lot of goals. And that happened. 11 goals and 2 assists in the last 18 Bundesliga games. On top of that, he went on a run at the back end of the season. 7 goals in 7 games. One of them, a breathtaking strike from outside the box. So I feel like he's just evolving, can score with his left foot, right foot, with his head. He's got a humongous amount of potential. And it's the right time for Arsenal to bring him in. You're thinking they could do a similar thing that they did with Kai Havertz, where you're giving him like 6 months of time to adapt to the system. Yeah, Havertz could play as the number 9 from the start, and then Benjamin Sesko could really take up that mantle and start evolving his play, all-round play, receiving to feet, maybe making appearances in the cup competitions. But when he's going to get going, he's going to get going. He's got a hammer of a right foot, hammer of a left foot. He's a tall forward, great in the air. For 50 million euros is an absolute bargain. So in conclusion, we're selling 8 players for around 160 million pounds. We're also doing a little sneaky part exchange, sending Emile Smith-Rowe to Aston Villa plus 20 million for Douglas Luiz. In terms of our signings, as I mentioned, 5 new players, one of them being Douglas Luiz, but also making David Raya's move permanent, then signing Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle United, Saganov from Girona, and of course Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig. That net spend will be 82 million, so there'd still be a bit of money in the bank if Arsenal want to do anything else. But they've been my thoughts, guys. Do get into the comments below what you would do with this Arsenal squad, who you'd sell, who you'd buy, and which number 9 you think Arsenal should get. Sesko, Victor Gyökeres, or maybe even Joshua Zirkzee. I've been Statman Dave. Thanks for Matchmasters for sponsoring this video. Remember, you can win tickets to see England at Euro 2024. Make sure you get on that. See you later.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?